So find a nice comfortable position, please. Sit up nice and tall. If you want to lay or sit in a chair or stand up, that's okay too. But just let's take a minute, two, three here to focus inward and breathe. It's important sometimes if you're trying to meditate, not to be over busy. Even attempting to breathe can be kind of too busy. So maybe just sit, focus your attention inward, reflect, observe on your thought body, the mind, maybe the emotional body. If you'd like to add your breath practice, the most basic, we call it Kriya breathing, where you just inhale slowly, following the inhale with the mind's eye, and exhale slowly, following the exhale. You could add the breath hold at the top and or bottom. A few examples of some more detailed types of breathing would be Kapalabhati, breath of fire, or alternate nasal breathing. It's always good to set an intention, and it doesn't really matter what it is. It's more just like practicing controlling the mind, so your mind's just not wandering randomly, your energy isn't focused randomly. If you picture someone who needs help, or you picture your goals, your vision, at least you have that energy directed somewhere. It's not just kind of randomly all over the place thinking of stuff you don't want your energy going towards. So the intention just represents, where do I want to aim my energy? Okay, so our first little movements right from here today, if you need to, shake it out or something, that's understandable. It's basically the same position. You just start to kind of circle the core. Some people like to move the arms. Some people like to widen their legs. Think of it like a cat cow. We do cat cow, we circle. You kind of do that here. It's not supposed to be difficult. You're just kind of loosening up the body. Okay. So I'm sitting on a block, throwing my right leg out because my ankle is still kind of messed up. So I'm just kind of feeling out the body. And we're simple, slower Sundays. We don't always want to be athletes about our yoga. We're an athlete Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. All right. I'm just kind of loosening up. Look at this. I'm kind of rolling my shoulders out a little bit, kind of moving the neck. It's just an easy first movement pattern, but it could be anything. Okay. Now remember, guys, I always talk about having strong days and exercise and then having easy days. For me, it's not always Sunday. Sunday is a very strong day for me, but I base it off how I'm feeling, right? So I might have a couple easier days in a row. I just had a few very difficult days in a row. All this week I exercised pretty strong. So easy days are coming. Stretch day probably today for me, but you're kind of, I have simple Sundays on Sunday. So, you might be feeling good. So you might want to pick it up a little bit more. Okay, I'm just kind of moving my arms too here a little bit. All right, yogis. You moved around a little bit there. Let's come back, swing it around, tabletop position. And I'm going to go right into this basic here. It's important, I think, that we do this exercise once a week, probably. It's not only really good for you, but it's like a really good like barometer. Like, how does my body feel? Because you do something you do regularly, you get insight to clarity, how you really feel. Strength, flexibility, tightness, energy. Okay, right leg, left leg, right arm. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay. So, you're not always using the exercise to challenge the strength of the body. This is really good for waking up the major joints. You got your hip, you got all your knee, you got your shoulder, elbow, and then you also have the stabilizing muscles. So you really get a lot done with this exercise. And like I said, it kind of measures your progress. Like, I noticed for years I was doing this, I was kind of unstable. Now I can just lock right in. I like never kind of flop side to side. And I just noticed, I was like, wow, I actually feel a lot better in strength than I thought, because I lifted weights really hard the last 2 days. And I played basketball 3 days during the week this week. So I have all these really intense things. I was like, whoa, I actually feel good. All right, can we do the second side? It's not like you're trying to get to too many either, because it's warm up. Get the blood flowing, get the breath rate going. Okay, move the body, flush the blood. Nice, Jamie. Yeah, I just kind of went right into movement. Some days you hold a little bit more, okay? If you tend to move a little too fast, slow it down, please. If you don't move fast enough, you probably, if you sit a lot, someone who's at a desk and then on the couch too much, I would say you got to move more, right? So your practice, you got to be honest with yourself. It's a big part about like adult yoga, I call it adult education. It's part of the process. You got to make the good choice. It's not like a kid. You got to tell them exactly what to do, or, a beginner in yoga. It's like very structured. But everyone in here has been practicing yoga as long as me. So you got to make those good decisions. All right, simple, slower Sundays, yogis. I'm going to go right into our next movement, another one I think we should probably do at least once a week. Right, straight from therapeutics. Right arm underneath, right arm up and open. Start to wake up the rotation. Okay, if you want a little bit more, you could throw your left foot back. If you want a lot more, we're going to go there. You can throw your left foot out to the side, right? So depending on where the leg is, the legs, it's going to be more. Last few. Notice that the legs out to the side, it's much more restricted. Okay, so you're going to get like a bigger quote unquote stretch. Remember, try to turn from the core through the chest, through the arm, kind of connecting all that. That makes it a postural correction exercise. We're always trying to, this is yoga 101. It's biomechanics too, but when those two merge, when the ancient philosophy of energy and the mindful yogi with the mechanical exercise professional merge and agree, that's how you know it's the good stuff. Can we do our second side, please? We're just still moving. I'm not going to have you hold because I want blood flow. So one of the first things I do, I wake up, I always bring my dog outside to go to the bathroom first thing before anything. And I start to like arm circle, breathe in and out my nose. Sometimes I squat, sometimes I kind of twirl, and you move, you get the blood flow. Because when you're sleeping, body temperature decreases, heart rate slows, body temperature lowers. So you kind of get it all waking up, okay? Just in case you didn't do that this morning. Okay, so I'm going to keep it going, guys. Downward dog is next. Simple, slow, fundamental Sundays. You take a few breaths. I like to suggest getting into your feet. Okay, we did just kind of point and flex the foot on the first part, but now you go weight bearing. Feet are weight bearers.
It's good to take the weight off and move them. But the more we can train the feet to bear weight, specifically dynamically, you hold weights on your feet, yeah, that's great and all, but really your feet are designed for the more complexities, like walking around, let's just say, right? So moving them in weight bearing is really better, I guess you could say. So nice and easy, guys. You're going to shift forward to plank. Exhale, shift back. I never teach this dynamic strengthening flexibility movement. Just simple forward and back. It's fantastic, right? You shift forward, you shift back, and you really lift the sit bones up and back, and you really feel that stretch in the back of the legs. Want a little bit more? You shift forward, bend the elbows, straighten them, and then back. Last few. You know, we didn't do cat-cow today. It's kind of like that. Plank is a little bit more like a cat. Dog is a little bit more like a cow at that point, if your intention is to move the spine.
Yesterday was a big push-up day for me, you know, did 5 sets or so, you know, a little bit more, maybe even multiple variations till fatigue. So you can feel it right from the start. I tried to push up there. I was like, whoa, you know, I probably don't need as many today, right? So if you did strong push-ups with me yesterday, you might not need as many of these. But if you didn't do it, basically the less you're strengthening, yogis, the more you need it. Okay, that's simple, right? Just remind yourself, strengthening is first. We don't want the body to get weak. You know, strength is associated with longevity. Okay, take it down to the chest, guys. So shift forward, take it down to the chest. Okay, let's do our nice gentle cobra work. I pretty much always do this. I did this yesterday. Active cobra work here. I'm not thinking range just yet. You can add one if you'd like, because you're all regulars and you know your body. Yesterday, when I started my cobras, I was about midway through my exercise routine. I already did some more intense leg things. I did a strong abs on Friday for myself. Yesterday was lower back day. So I started to go like this, these little back lifts. Then midway through, I was like, ooh, it felt restricted. So I did go up into a high cobra. Okay, I stretched out a little bit here. And then I went back down slow, and then I went back into it. And then after I took the arms back, and I'm really turning on my back body here. Okay, fundamentals, get back, get into it. The dog to plank with the push-up was strengthening the front body, right? It's like plank and push-up. It's stretching the back body. Where you push back to dog. Now you tighten up the back body. All right. You're going to stretch after this, Yogi. I'm going to give you a little stretch. So you know you can work here and you're going to stretch. I'm a big fan, you know, if you're teaching your body to be more biomechanically doesn't have to do anything really with cardio, but you know, if you're teaching biomechanics, like think about like your muscle, if there's any part of your body that's more like a machine, it's your muscles. And if you're trying to just train those to work better, it's a good idea to like rest between intense exercises. So you're not like just, you know, fight or flight brain kind of just getting through it mindlessly. All right. So that's why I mentioned that, like you're going to stretch. Okay, listen, take it down to the chest. I want to do this one once a week. We didn't do it this week. It's a good one. Right arm out, roll to the left, right. If you want more, bigger stretch, bend at the elbow. Okay? Just a few breaths today, yogis. There's a common quote used amongst yoga teachers in the beginner yoga classes. They say the bigger the stretch, the bigger the breath, right? So this is a very big stretch, actually. So you come back to your breathing when you slow down the body. We've done a lot of movements in a row. So now I slow you down. You come back to the mindful yogi because we were going toward the athlete. Okay, and you know, no rush, right? You're going to base this off what your body's telling you, not what the yoga teacher says. You're going to do your left side when you intuitively feel good. Like I roll to that side because yesterday was push-up and dip day, I was like, whoa, that like hurts, right? I just stretch because I tightened so much. If you do a really strong strength day, the next day you can notice how tightening strength is. When I do my hamstring curls, usually like once a week, oh my God, I can't even like barely touch my toes because the hamstrings tighten so much just from one day. So you're kind of moving at your own pace, right? You're going to come, back to center. Maybe you just bend the knees and windshield wipe the feet side to side. That's a therapeutic, really fantastic to massage out your thighs, loosen up your lower back, and rotate the hips. We didn't do that yet, right? So if you bend the knees and your feet just kind of flop side to side, right, on your chest, it's a really fantastic, light, therapeutic, just kind of moving the joints in a rotational form. Remember, I always try to express this idea that your hips bear your weight all day, so do your knees and your feet. And to kind of just take the weight off and loosen them up, just move them around, break up any buildup, blockage, stickiness. The body does not like stagnation. So just think of that like getting it. I remember we were studying cellular or molecular biology, and they were like, each cell has 100,000 processes going on at one time. Each cell, I'm like, how complex is that? Each cell communicating to 100,000 other cells and then 100,000 processes. And that's just, that's one little part of it. Incredible. All right. So listen, if you want a cobra and up dog, that's good.
Let's keep it going though, guys. Meet in the child pose, take a breath or 3. I want you to explore. You got about a minute and a half, child pose. Remember, child pose can be intense action. You can do the active one where you squeeze your feet, knees towards your hands, you hover your elbows. You can also do a side stretch, walk the hands over to the right. You can also do a thread the needle. You can also massage your forehead. A lot of different things you can do in child pose. You can put your arms on blocks for the active underarm release and then bend the elbows. So with all these regulars, how do you want to do your child pose today? You can't do them all.
If I was participating in class, I would probably be doing a lot of light movements. You never want to like stick to a thing. So many times you're like, oh my God, I'm tired. And you show up to yoga and you're like, whoa, actually, I feel really strong and good. And then some days you're going to yoga class, you feel really good, like walking in, and then you're like, whoa, I actually feel like weak and my balance is off. So you don't want to get stuck in identity that for your body that you created this morning. How does it feel in the moment? And apply, because it might even change 20 minutes in, 40 minutes in, and you're in the moment, boom, you feel good, you go. Okay. All right, let's come back up tabletop. I want to do our lateral hip lifts. Right into another stretch though, okay? So fundamental, but we got to work this one, guys, because we want stable lateral hips. So the main way a lot of ways people hurt their back, not the main way actually, but they go like this, they kind of bend laterally. Got to strengthen this muscle. It's like the anchor in that chain when you have to laterally bend. So fundamental, think of a canine urinating on a fire hydrant. Leg out and up. Knee hovers. Now when you get into it, you want a little bit extra, you pulse it out there. Okay, it's a good one. Don't rush in and out of it though. Just notice, yogis, I don't do this. Watch. I don't like shift my body. I try to keep equal weight on the hands and the left knee. Notice I'm only going halfway down. See this? I'm really trying to fire my outer hip. If you came in a little bit after we started, we did the glute max stimulation, hamstring stimulation. And by stimulation, I mean activation, like strength. We also did hip flexor. Now we're in the outer hip, the glute medius down the IT band. You can hit the outer, the abductors, right, is what they're kind of more technically called, but they're going to stabilize the hip and the core a lot, okay? And then we're just kind of doing the fundamentals, which means side to side. Okay, so right knee down, left knee hovers, take a little cat-cow here if you feel like you need it. And then boom, left knee out and left leg down. There are way more challenging ways to do this in chair pose, straight leg standing, half moons one, side planks one. We do this one less, so I do want to do it. Add it today. Laying on your side, on your back, roll to your side is another one where you lift the top leg. It's okay to do it different, yogis. Sometimes I like to suggest having if you have your exercise bands, you throw them around your knees here. People do the band walk, right? You get these, they're $5. You get them at any athletic store at Amazon, and you throw them around your knees and you just walk laterally. It's one of the best exercises for stable hips because you keep contraction in complex ways on your feet, which is functional. And then you walk laterally, right? Or back, and then it's so good.
All right, yogis, now I'm gonna keep going. Back to the first foot here. Right foot goes out to the side, okay? And then we rise up. So we're going with the big lateral. Now, if the knee hurts, you gotta pad it. I don't want you to force this one, it's a big stretch, okay? Left arm goes up and over. So you just really tense it. Now you put the glute short on the right. Inner thigh is gonna work, but that's the key is you gotta press the right foot down and in. You don't like get lazy here. Left arm up and over, just take a nice big side body stretch. Just notice I'm not down, turning down to the right. I'm turning my chest up to the left, lengthening through my side. This is a simple fundamental, but it's actually a really big stretch.
Okay, let's not do that one too long, all right? You come back to center, you shake it out a little bit, you cat-cow it, you circle it, and then the right leg, left leg goes out. Just notice that the left toes are kind of facing forward, stretches the outer ankle. It's an active supination. It means pressing the outer edge of your foot down. More so than not, I will say press big toe down because that's the gait, but you do things like Goddess and Warrior 2 where the feet are like kind of tend to roll in, then you don't want to give that cue as much, right? You press the outer feet down. We want to develop all the corners can actively press down together. The heel even too, right? That's chair, and heel. Forward bend, you lean weight in the toes. Try to notice that about yourself. When the feet roll out, you press the big toe down more. When the feet roll in, you press the outer edge of the feet down. It's always that same. If you arch your back, you tuck the tailbone. If you round, you arch the back a little bit more. That's a very good general rule in all yoga. If the body goes in there passive or unintentionally, work out of it. All right. Head goes forward, pull it back. Head back too much, bring it forward.
All right, let's get out of there, please. Shake it out a little bit here. Simple, slower Sundays. Right foot steps forward. Now, since we got regulars, there's not a best way here. I'm going to go on Janasana today. If you feel like you need more strength, you could go low lungey. That's good. Okay, maybe your arms go up if you're feeling good. And too often we're kind of stiff in poses, so you might move a little bit here. Maybe you want to do a little bit of arm circling or, moving your arms. So we're all in the same type of pose, but you're listening to your body after you get the cue. Another nice thing is that, I noticed my side body's tight, even though we just did a side body. Maybe you need extra. I'll do that all the time. I'll do like 3-4 twists in a row in my own practice because they all hit it different. Another nice one is kind of like twisting, turning a little bit over to the right. Okay, last few breaths in the lunge. We don't do it as much with the back knee down, so.
Good idea to mix it in, okay? You can still stretch in high lunge and you can still strengthen with the back knee down. Don't get it confused that one is the other. But just to kind of be well-rounded here, okay? Now, if you're doing a high lunge, you might want to do pyramid. But if you're with the back knee down, let's do half splits. Let's go for the big hamstring stretch. We haven't reached for the toes yet, right? The closest thing really was like down dog. So when you sit up and you reach for your toes, same thing kind of, right? So I straighten my front leg. I'm still on the same side, yogis. I'm going to lengthen my chest forward. I'm going to forward fold. All right. I'm going to take a few deep breaths here, close my eyes. Now, what do you do here? Maybe look at this. I'm starting to like kind of roll my toes in and out. But notice I did back out of the flexibility a little bit with the rotation. Another nice little option here, guys, is a little bit of a bend. Look, a little bit of straight and forward fold. So it's like I go towards the Anjana and then I go forward. Another nice option here, guys, is to kind of twist. Explore a little bit, don't be so kind of rigid or stiff in the position. Nice, Jamie. And yeah, you can add triangle. We just kind of did something like that, with the leg out to the side, but triangle would be different because you get the gracilis because you laterally rotated the hip, whereas hip with the leg out on the side bend we did, it was the neutral rotation. So it's really medial inner thigh, whereas triangle's posterior medial thigh. Some would say very different, but they are very close. All right, can we switch sides here? Now listen, optional chaturanga, optional push-ups, optional headstand, handstand, or child pose. Take a moment in between. It's, two pretty big postures in a simple, slower, easier Sunday form. So maybe you do a little neutralizer if you want in between. Like I said, easiest is always child pose, cat cow, or child pose to cobra, that movement, shifting forward back, or down dog to up dog, middle ground, handstand hops, advanced versions from other classes, or inversion hold would be most. Plank hold is in there too, okay? And it basically just starts with an Anjanasana. So it's your lunge right now. Left foot forward, right foot crawls back, chest might lift, arms might go up. I think I saw some of you doing some arm circles. Some of you doing like stuff like this. Some of you doing I think I saw one of you doing like eagle. We did that yesterday. Be creative and intuitive. I constantly talk about intuition. If yoga is awareness practice, what's intuition? It seems like intuition is this like highest form of awareness that, we tend to get a lot of information from others and then just, listen to it, but we don't ask the spirit. And that's what some yogis would say this, the heart, you ask the heart, but the yogis say, you don't just ask the heart chakra, you ask the spirit, which is all the chakras. Because the heart chakra love is an ultimate in yoga, right? I know everyone says love is everything, but love, heart chakra can be messed with too much. You can love somebody in a very unhealthy way, right? The heart chakra is too nice. You're too nice. The Dharma, the big yogis say niceness is not enough. Being brave and, truthful, standing up for what you believe is very important. So the heart chakra can be controlled, if you're too nice. It's not the end game. All right, so you're doing your Anjana. It looks like some of you you're going to your straight leg already. The next part is the straight leg, so shift your hips back. This is the big hamstring stretch of class, so just to be clear, we're not going to do a lot of them after this. So you forward fold over the leg a little bit more, you're lengthening your core, you're breathing. I mentioned things like rotating the hip or rotating the core. I mentioned things like bending and straightening, going up and down a little bit. There's balance. There's the handstand training here where you hover your left heel. How can you make it your own, right? The yogis always say, how can love be ultimate? It's so emotional. You know, if you know, love and yoga are very similar, though. It's like yoga means union. When you love somebody, you want to connect and merge, and you know, and yoga means that basically in a non-emotional sense. They say you take knowledges of the lower chakra, but you take the knowledge up into the heart chakra and truth. So love and knowledge merge, which forms wisdom. Third eye. So, excuse me, love and knowledge merge and see truth, which turns into wisdom. The fifth chakra is truth. Love is the purifier of knowledge, which leads to truth. When those three combine, it's like the wisdom.
So you're finishing up there, guys. I want to do one more thing down here. So finish up do your push-ups. If you want a quick side plank, we did a lot of those all this week, right? So I'm going to skip it today. Just again, I'm keeping it a little bit easier on Sundays because we got to have an easier day in practice. All right. So I have some yoga friends. They're like, I won't teach easy yoga. And I'm like, okay, well, you need it more than probably as a teacher yourself. But, you know, we're all doing our own dance, so it doesn't matter. Right foot goes forward. I keep moving forward. You catch up. Subtle pose here, guys. Don't overlook the importance of this stuff. So I'm in this kind of, not a lunge. Look at me from the side. When you're ready, you're here. Watch what happens. The right foot is in front. It crawls to the right. And I turn like cool, but I don't want to arch my back. I tuck my tailbone, I lift my chest. My right foot went from in front of me to the right, but my left foot didn't pivot. Look at my left foot still behind me. I lift my heart and I turn to the right. I turn and I feel my left hip light up, but I got to tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glute, lift the core of the chest and turn. Last 3 breaths. I'm not giving you options here because I want you to feel something, the big rotation of the hip, and then wait there in an active form. Okay, I'm turning open to the right. My right knee's out actively to the right. It's the left hip is our target. You can feel the butt light up. So remember, it's posterior tilt and extension and rotation. Okay, doing auto glutes. Okay, listen. Walk the right foot forward. This one's a little same side, but a little the opposite rotation, right? So I walk my right foot to the left. It's kind of unstable. Watch, I turn to the left. I gotta really press my feet down. That's how I stay stable. Balance is always pushing down, which is down, right? And I turn to the left. A slight tuck of the tailbone, pull the belly. Target is still left hip. But if now you bring your left hand to your left buttock, you will feel your glutes like soften a lot because it's medial rotation. Glute max is a lateral rotator.
This one's subtle. It's really good though and unique. Even things like revolve triangle, warrior 2 triangle, they're not going to hit this like that. Okay, it's a very unique little place to remember and do. I do this on like easier days. It's on my easy list. Okay. Can we neutralize and do the second side? These are your options for this is your chance in class for chaturangas and push-ups and inversions. Just to be clear there. Okay. So you do a little bit of neutralizing, forward, back, up, down. And then what we do, I did left leg first. We're going to go right leg. If you're on the other side, just make sure the first part. So right leg will go forward. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It is left leg for next. Okay, so the left leg goes out. So this thigh is pulling away and open, right? I don't want to see this though, guys. You were just here. You were in that, right? So now the left leg actively opens up. It's like a half goddess pose. Don't forget that one. Now I turn
to the left, excuse me. Whatever way the leg goes, the body goes. That's how you remember. We do this one too, right? But here today, I'm turning. Now I don't want my back to arch, it's subtle. I gotta tuck the tailbone, pull the belly in, and turn. Our target is the right outer, you can feel your butt. Feel the whole butt of the right hand, right butt. You gotta really slow down and feel it. It's subtle, yogis.
So you can go way further with the left leg, Jamie, out to the left. Like walk it way open, like max, because that's what's creating the external hip rotation in the right hip, whatever knee's down. And then that's the glute max and piriformis. And you have 6 lateral rotators, right? Including glute max. And piriformis is one of the famous ones. Can we do the second part, which is called internal rotation? So you're here. Now here's the weird one. Don't let the back foot do this stuff. Left foot across to the right. Okay, watch. Tailbone tuck, belly up. I turn to the right with my core. And now you feel your butt cheek is soft, but it's your outer hip right here. So we did the lateral leg list for glute medius. Now we do its second action, which is medial or internal rotation. Remember this week in Yoga Core, we did stuff like this, guys. If you remember, right? Some of you can't make that class because it's during the day, right? So we did this stuff. That's medial rotation to dynamic, right? Really good, by the way. We also did the lateral rotation like this. Sometimes I have you go like this in a dynamic form. Sometimes we go like, you know, like this. Rotate, rotate. Sometimes we go like this. Gotta do that rotation, yogis. Get out of there. Chaturanga, cat-cow, child pose, vinyasa, plank. Last moments there. Okay. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. I keep moving forward just for time's sake here. If you want to touch your toes at the front of your mat, now's a good time. A yogi squat could feel good here, guys. We did a lot on the wrist, so if you want to throw your palms face up underneath your feet or pull or shoulder stretch there, what feels good for you this morning? Sweating. You know, when you're in a group, if I were to work with you all individually right now, I'd probably give different exercises based on, you know, questions that I'd ask you, like how you feel, what's your goals, what do you want to work on, what don't you do? And then I would be like, okay, we should do this stuff. So everyone needs that different, right? And it'd be a mix of what you like and what you don't do a lot of. All right, so let's stand up, guys. All right, we're gonna get right to it. Since you did your lunges and your straight legs and your laterals and your rotationals, done. Balance. Easier, tree. Feeling better? Intertwine your 10 fingers, 2 inches below the knee. This is also one that you gotta do regularly. Don't think it's weak, it's a power pose. Straighten your right leg, lift the knee up, breathe, okay? Now, okay, you still want more, you can just hold it up actively. And really lift the knee, lift, lift, lift. You're feeling super fantastic, you straighten. Okay, last few breaths. Standing on one leg is one of the most simple standing and extremely, you know, powerful poses in the sense where it changes your body. And you can just do it anywhere. You don't need to be warmed up. Brush your teeth like that. Oh, you got some time to kill. Oh, reprogram the brain. You just go like this. Okay. Can we do the second side? Shake it out. Simple day, not holding too long. Go. Tree, bind, active, or maybe really full active. Your choice. Couple more breaths. Same work though. Straighten your bottom leg. Don't arch your back. Pull your belly in, shoulders back and down. Head doesn't go forward. Spine doesn't round.
when you're done with your balance, there's your tonic. Let's go to the phasic. I need a big weight bearing on the legs, okay? Let's do something in the realm of squatting and or chair. All right, so your feet widen a little bit. Now you go deep bend and you sit down. Now you want more strength to get to the bounce here, okay? If you're feeling really good, you want to kind of like do a little walking so it's like unstable. You see how I'm kind of moving in my chair? I can go side to side or forward and back. I mentioned bands around your thighs. If you had them, you could do it. You could put a block between your thighs, get the inner thighs. If you're feeling, you know, like you want even more, you lift your heels here. We're not going to do all of them today. So what's some way you can, you know, this is probably an intention of strengthening, right? Some of them I say, do you want a little more stretch here or strength? This is probably strength for everyone. We need the weight bearing bent knee and the legs. So you go to where you have to quit, but you don't quit in first difficulty. You work and, you know, into the space where you want to quit the pose. You practice staying at that point. Willpower, it's called. When the mind, the power of the mind rises above the weakness of the body. If that never develops, you won't get stronger. Okay? You know, that's a tough thing. Like when you're held accountable by a coach, a trainer, a teacher in the beginning, you know, someone who's a regular, you need less and less and less of that, right? That you get better at that process because you know you need it. All right. So you shake it out. And this is when we're going to do 2 sets. So you twirl, you shake, you kind of loosen up. Now you got one more round here. What type of chair do you want to do? A squat kriya, you know, a big movement, because I said some people need more movement. Either way, you're doing what I'm asking. The really challenging chair is one leg chair. There's also the hinging chair. Okay. Again, this isn't usually for simple slower Sundays, but you sit low, you get low, you keep your hips lower, lean the upper body back, arms back, and you lay the chest down again. That's a really challenging variation of chair. Okay. One-legged chair. You know, I like to have the 1 foot hover, and then you bring the leg lateral. There's figure 4 chair, tends to be more difficult. How are you working? Have some fun in your chair pose today. Yeah, I had a brand new client last weekend, and she's quite fit. She like exercises all the time, but it's like upper body dominant, and like she does a lot of like arm weights, but her legs is always just cardio. And when we were starting, she kind of said this. She was like, "This is going to be like all legs training, isn't it?" She knows, right? And I was like, "Yeah, it is." You know, her core is pretty fit. Her arms are kind of fit, like very fit. And I was like, you know, and you could tell instantly after the body check, it was like, oh, your legs, legs, you know. And, you know, all the exercise I gave her, the program, was just a big mix of legs with some core, you know, a little bit of arms, but you know what you need. And you just got to work into making that good choice. Okay, get out of there. Shake it out, please. So I do want to do the one-legged hinging now. So it kind of puts the two together. And I like to do it in the simple form. You know, we hold Warrior 3 all the time. You know me, I say like side plank, Warrior 3, almost every class, right? But I like to do it like this right here, right? Left hand reaches. We did this week once. I like to repeat a few things. Left hand reaches a foot or two in front of your right foot. Good posture. See that? Good posture. I never put the left. You can go here too if you want, right? Left hand in front. Right? Okay. So it's easy, right? You go slower. You pause down there for a moment. You turn open a little bit. Remember how we've done this? You go to half moon. It's almost like you go to revolve moon, and then you come back up. Maybe you go here. You turn to left and you turn right. Remember that one? It's not really simple, slow Sundays, but you know, if you feel good, I want to give you some. So I'm up, I turn left a little, I turn right. I'm down, I turn left, I turn right. Okay, there's a little something extra. If it's tough, you can just hold warrior 3 or barely move. You go from up a little forward. If you can just hold warrior 3 tight. You can, if it's easy, you can put a weight in your hand. Okay, they do that in fitness more. So get your last big, this is your last balance. So the moving balance. And this is the repetitive hinge practice. So simple Sundays, right? A squat, a hinge, your lunges were down on the ground. Now I'm better at balance and strength in my right leg, and that's the one I was demoing, right? So I gotta give more focus to that left leg, all right? When I squat, the left leg buckles more. When I, you know, jump, my left leg doesn't feel as strong. I always got to bring awareness into that, okay? Can we do the second side? You get into about 6, 12, 15 reps, because it's body weight training. You got to think a little bit more reps probably, all right? Remember, we're not trying to really round the spine. You're trying to keep the spine nice and long. You can bend your bottom knee, whatever. You try to keep the top leg more straight. Whatever leg is kind of going up and back as your chest goes forward, that leg is active and straight. All right. And then you bend that standing knee, but as you get really good at it, it takes time. You straighten it more. Our straight leg hinge practices, right? Nice, Jamie. Nice, Leslie. Everyone looking good. Nice, Janet. Kathy. If I start talking philosophy, if you guys ever have questions, you can put it in the chat. I do meet you guys because I remember I record these classes, but I don't put them. I don't record your screens. It's only my screen because I have two big. I have all you guys on the big screen over here, and I have me on the little screen, and I record only my screen. So if you do want to talk, you just write it in the chat if you have a question ever. Even if you have a thought, I like to hear your thoughts. If I go philosophical and you have even if it's an opposing thought, that's fine. I like to hear your guys's, opinions and thoughts about any, philosophy that I might be talking about, and whether it's body or energy. I was talking earlier about how love isn't the ultimate, right? So. All right, so when you're done there, guys, let's slowly stand up. So I want to take it down to the ground. Remember, this class is an hour. We got about 7 minutes left here. So take your time. I'm going to take yogi squat. It's a pose I like to do almost every single day. You did your kind of strengthening squats. We did child pose. That's similar. But if you wanted to go crow right now, that's another arm balance strength opportunity. All right, I'm going to bring it down to the back after this. I'm going to bring you right up to 45, quickly lead you into meditation. And then I have to get to my other class. It's at 9:15, so I can't hang out too long today, okay? So I'm going to bring you down to your back. Some of you are working there. We already did some seated movements. I'm just going to go right down today, guys. And one little core exercise here, gentle day. Easiest looks something like this. Left leg, right arm. You kind of did something like this. Right leg, left arm. As my leg goes forward, I keep my lower back down. If you want a little bit more, maybe a little curl in the body. Down. Crunch, some people call it. If you want a lot more, a little leg swing. So what's one little ab thing you'd like to tighten your abs today? Some days I do really intense abs. I do like dragon flags. Those days are less and less as time goes, but and then there's easy. I do the most therapeutic light core
I don't know if I told you months ago, I have a strain in my psoas. I still have it. I've been jamming things in there for weeks and stretching it in every way I know how. The thing does not want to release. It's probably my spirit talking to me in some way. And so my abs have had to change the last few months. You know, injuries come and it seems like they'll never go away. But they will. You know, I've had all these things for injuries over years, and you think it's party at summer, and I go, then oh yeah, it's a memory because the next injury comes. So I have this psoas strain still, which makes it difficult to train abs. It hurts. Um, so I've had to approach my abs a little softer lately. Okay. When I feel good, I'll push it like really hard compression. This is like the first abdominal injury I've ever had. It's not fun. Basketball, I'm assuming. Okay, so listen, guys, you got your bridges here. After this, we're going to take a stretch. So how about we do that one, that thrust? So I said you want to do side plank and warrior 3 every day. Those are good. But bridges in that category, some type of thrust for the glutes. If you feel good, you'd come up and you do reverse plank or a reverse table, one-legged hip thrust up in the table. One-legged bridge is a little bit more, super good for all levels. A little bit of pulsing up and down in the bridges, or just a hold. And then the yogic type flexibility, full body would be wheel. If you're thinking pure strength though, I think one-legged hip thrust and table or reverse plank. If you're thinking flexibility and strength, it's wheel or energy. So let me give you another like 2 minutes. After that, it's just a stretch or two into meditation, okay? Yep, that's it, Jamie. That's like the purest strength for backline right there. Hey, Leslie, did you move spots? Oh, look at your little cat watching your form. So this is, you know, you did a little tightener for your core. We did our little back crunches earlier. Then you did your front crunches. You did your lateral leg lifts for your outer hip. And now it's the butt. That butt turns on one last time, okay? Just notice if you're doing hip thrusts, one of the main things you're looking out for is lower back arching. If you want to work cat hips, that's a very subtle one. If you missed yoga core this week, I did pelvic tilt education class, right? So we did pelvic tilt throughout the whole thing. And we really talked about that. You know, when you're doing a hip thrust, which is a bridge, you have to work on bringing your tailbone between your legs. It's very subtle, but your pelvis has to go like that. So it pulls your belly and your ribs in, your pubic bone up, and your tailbone kind of through the thighs. And you work the hamstring pull too. So heels pull the shoulders, core lengthens, and big toe presses down. Okay, last few moments here, please. Oh, it's already 8:41, so we should move forward. So listen, yogis, we did a lot of stretches, hip flexors, hamstrings, inner thighs. We did rotations. You pretty much done, right, with hip stretching. Yogis always stretch too much. So if there is one more stretch you want to do, now's a good time. Happy baby could be a simple one. Plow could be a big one. You kind of did figure 4 today. Figure 4 is a big lateral rotation. In flexion, we did lateral rotation and neutral today, or more extension actually. So it's like a different one. But the quad could be another good one that we didn't do. You just roll onto your side and take a few breaths like this, right? So you get the front of the thigh. You know, figure 4 is like this. You did, you know, this one instead, right? It's like the same. It's just an extension. It's the one you don't do enough of. Another nice stretch here, guys, could be putting a block under your buttocks or under your chest for restorative fish or bridge. Like I said, we probably stretch the hips enough, but if there's one you have to pick, I'd probably say front thigh stretch, okay? And then you do your second side. Nice. Legs up in the air is a really nice one. If you're on your feet a lot or got anything going on in the limbs, you just kind of elevate the limbs, right? So you do your hip opener here, and then maybe you want a little kind of torso release. A lot of times yogis use twists. It wasn't like a super big twisty day. You did the rotations on the knees. I mentioned some. We didn't do any standing. So it might be a nice idea to kind of bring the knees into the chest, drop them over to the side. You could do a cross-legged or a one-legged. It would be a nice time for an inversion or plow. I meant plow can be, both. It's really more of a core opener, but it can be considered hip opener, especially in a newer person. Happy baby is always a great place to look for any kind of in between spots. And if you're doing a twist, maybe you think about switching up the sides. Okay. And you're finishing up your last twist. You give it a nice quick squeeze or any last little movement you want to do. And you remember before things opened up, we used to do Sunday was hatha yoga and meditation. And we would do the kinds of meditation where you ask a question and you listen for the answer. That's the hope, by the way, that's the process I was talking about. You learn to listen to the spirit by you have to talk to it. And then you got to give it a chance to talk. You can't let your mind do all the talking. You got to let the heart, you got to let the heart talk. But the heart is the heart's like your friend who would never speak up, right? Because all the loud friends talk too much. But, you got to give the nice, quiet friend a chance to talk too, because they're probably, I remember they were picking the guru for the Krishna movement. They picked the quietest monk. That's how the main guru picked the next person. He was like, "You've never talked here. You've been here 20 years. You're the lead now." And that always stuck with me. Your heart's the quiet person in the back. You want to let speak up because they're always listening. And the listener is usually the one that's learning the most because they're not talking, they're listening and learning. So the heart's the listener. And the way you really, you got to give it a chance to talk. So you got to shut down your mind. And it's the one you ask the questions to. Another thing you could do here, me, the prayer, the gratitude, that's one of my main meditations. Someone asked me a couple of days after class what I've been doing to protect myself, around COVID. I'm doing the aura meditations big time. I'm doing the gratitude meditation constantly. You got to keep that positive vibration. Can't go negative. So you do that, a prayer, some people call it. Don't forget, some days you do your chanting. Some days you're working with other things like emotional meditation. Just sitting and thinking can be considered meditation. So pick what you're going to do and then settle into that final pose. Try to stay as long as you can, yogis. All right. And thank you for being here. I'll be here Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Reach out to me. All right. And have a great Sunday, yogis. Namaste.